Hi everyone, it's Fallon, and if you would like to know how I made this meaty shepherd's pie with the fluffiest cheesy potato, then stay tuned. The ingredients that you would need for this dish is beef mince, white pepper, black pepper, Kentucky flour, an OXO stock pot, some potatoes. I use Albert Bartlett potatoes, but you can use whichever brand that you prefer. Some 4 cheese blend, I get that from Asda, a carrot, 1 brown onion, some frozen garden peas and an OXO cube. Let's start off by peeling our potatoes. Grab yourself a pot, fill it with water, and we're going to pop this on the cooker to boil. Next, you're going to get your potatoes, and I'm chopping them into 4, trying to keep them all roughly the same size. This just helps them to boil evenly if they're all roughly the same. Then we're going to crack on with the carrot. We are going to peel the skin and then we're going to dice them, so chop them into matchsticks, trying to keep them all the same size, as small as possible. It always tastes a lot better if they are diced very small. Moving on to the onion, we are doing exactly the same thing, so we're dicing it, trying to keep it as small as possible, preferably similar size to the carrot. Get a new pan heated on the stove, pop in some oil, and then we're going to add the carrots and the onions, and we're going to saute this so that they're nice and soft and begin to cook. In the meantime, we're going to boil our kettle because we are going to get our stock pot ready. Moving on back to the pot with the carrots and the onions. Now this is optional. I'm adding in some minced garlic because I love me some garlic, but you don't have to add this. But I always think that garlic just adds that nice little boost of flavour to any dish. So I've popped that in there to saute with the rest of the vegetables. And now I'm adding the beef. So I'm going to take the OXO cube and I'm just going to sprinkle this on top of the mince. This just helps it to brown, adds all the flavour. That OXO cube has all the salt and all the flavourings that you need. I'm going to add some cracked black pepper, mix that in there, and then we're just going to leave that to cook. So we want that minced beef to cook through nicely. And that is my secret ingredient, sprinkling that OXO cube in there, so don't miss that out. You might think it's going to be too much adding an OXO cube and an OXO stock pot, but trust me, just trust the process, follow what I'm saying. This will make the beef taste so juicy and succulent. So you take the OXO stock pot, pop it in, add some water, mix it all up in a jug. So going back to the pot, we're going to add our Kentucky flour. We are adding in 2 tablespoons of this. This just helps to thicken the dish, and also Kentucky flour has all the seasonings in there. So if you're wondering that it's not going to be packed with flavour, the Kentucky flour can absolutely do this. If you don't have Kentucky flour, you can use normal plain flour, and I would probably suggest add some all-purpose seasoning to it if you just have plain flour. And then we are going to add the OXO stock and pour that all in, give it a really good mix, and then we're just going to allow this to sit there and simmer for about 3 to 4 minutes. Now that's had time to simmer, we are going to add our frozen garden peas to the mix, and the steam and the heat from the meat, that will defrost the garden peas and it will just incorporate nicely into the dish. Everything will be cooked through, it'll be piping hot and just perfect. Now we can move back to the boiled potatoes. So these are cooked through fully. The water has been drained off and we're now adding some butter to the potatoes. These just add a nice little bit of flavour to the potatoes, and then we're taking the white pepper and we are just adding that to season. I would highly recommend using white pepper and not black pepper, because using cracked black pepper you're going to taste those bits, and we want the potatoes to be fluffy, smooth, creamy. We don't want any lumps and bumps, we don't want bits, we don't want to be biting down and chewing on anything other than soft fluffy potato. So keep going, make sure that you mash it very well. As I said, we don't want lumps in there. This is what would ruin your entire dish. Bearing in mind, we've worked so hard thus far making sure that that beef is so succulent and flavourful that we have to make sure you get the potato right. So as you can see, I'm just adding a little bit more butter because there's quite a bit of potato in here. So as you can see, it's looking a bit dry. Now I love butter. Some people add an egg, some people may wish to add some milk. That is entirely up to you, but I prefer to use butter and cheese in my potato. So right now I'm getting the grated cheese, and this has 4 different types of cheese in there, and I just think it just adds a different layer of dimension. Of course, if you rather use one cheese or any one particular cheese that you prefer, that's absolutely up to you, but I prefer this because I just think it just adds that oh, what can I say, just that va-va-voom to the dish. Head on over and preheat your oven to 200 degrees. Get yourself a glass oven-proof dish, and now we are going to add all that cooked beef mince to the dish. Make sure you get every last drop. And now take your spoon and just evenly spread out the meat across the bottom of the dish. Try and keep it all very even as well. Next up, we are going to add all the mashed potato. So just take 2 spoons, and the idea is just to make sure that every crevice is topped with potato. Try to make sure that you're placing this as even as possible so that the meat doesn't seep through the sides, and just go through it little by little and then even it out with the back of the spoon. So making sure you get potato right up until the edge of the oven-proof dish. Smooth it out nicely, and then just to add a little pattern and a design, take a fork and just drag the fork lightly along the top of the potato. So I'm just making a lovely little pattern here. Just, it's purely for aesthetics really. It just makes it look really pretty when it's all nicely cooked and come out of the oven. So it should look something like that. So I'm popping it in the oven and leave it in there for 15 minutes. And there we have it, all done. Our meaty shepherd's pie, bursting with flavour, with the fluffiest cheesy potato. This is a perfect dish for the family. it will go down a treat. You're more than welcome to have it with a side of salad, some coleslaw on the side. It makes a perfect dinner. What I do is I leave it to sit for 30 minutes before dishing up. If you try and serve it immediately after taking out the oven, it's just going to be a sloppy mess. Whereas if you leave it to sit for a moment, leave it to rest, it means that you'll be able to portion it out and actually dish it out, and it'll be a bit more firm, so you can actually portion control it, just like what I'm doing here. And there you have it. It smells absolutely amazing, guys. Now, me personally, I like to have my shepherd's pie with minted gravy. All it is just Bisto gravy granules with a teaspoon of mint sauce, and it is amazing. Don't knock it until you've tried it. Let me know what you think of this recipe in the comment section down below. If you do try it, let me know how you get on and how it turned out for you. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe, and don't forget to press that notification bell.